好的，谢谢同学们的等待。那么这边呢，就是我们今晚的分享会呢，就是马上开始。呃，然后这边看到就是说，来的同学们已经达到了120位同学。然后，那么我们接下来就来开始今晚的这个海外大学云展活动。同学们大家好，欢迎来到今晚的海外大学云展活动。在我们今天的直播里，我们有幸请到了 George Washington University SEAS。School of Engineering and Applied Science 乔治华盛顿大学工程与应用科学学院 National University 国立大学 Wake Forest University 维克森林大学的招生官老师们为大家带来今天这场干货满满的分享。在这儿，大家不仅可以了解每所大学不同的优秀专业以及项目，同时呢，也可以了解海外学习生活以及工作的真实面貌。那接下来呢，我们会将依次邀请各大学代表们逐一介绍，每所大学呢会有15分钟的时间介绍自己的学校。同样，我们也会在中间向大学们提问，我们收集到之前在填这个 interest form 的时候收集到的一些感兴趣的一些问题。这些问题呢，主要包含国外的学习、工作还有生活3个方面。当然，我们同时也非常欢迎大家向我们这些经验丰富的招生官老师们提出属于你们自己的问题。那么下面我们话不多说，请允许我介绍大家今天分享的第一所学校 National University 国立大学的 Sam 老师。
非常感谢大家今天能够抽空来听我讲解我们National University 美国国立大学。我们的学校呢是坐落于美国的第8大城市圣地亚哥，然后圣地亚哥呢是在整个加利福尼亚州的最南面。下一页。现在因为新冠的原因呢，所以我们自从3月份开始呢，所有学生都已经全部都是在线上授课。然后我们目前的准备是明年的1月会重新开放校园，然后大家的课程也会全部回到教室里面去上。下一页。美国国立大学呢是整个加州规模最大的非营利性的私立大学之一然后我们整个学校的规模大概目前是有25000名学生，然后国际学生大概是400名左右。我们学校呢，等一下讲解过程当中呢，大家可以看到我们学校其实是非常突出一个性价比的这样一个选择我们所有学生的收费标准是一样的。然后刚刚有提到我们城市是在我们的校园是在加利福尼亚州的圣地亚哥下一页。我们学校的授课方式呢比较特别不是传统的学期制，我们呢是1个月1门课这样一个授课的方式。这种授课方式呢其实是对于学生的成功率来说呢，以我们过往的经验来看呢是非常非常有帮助的学生们可以非常专注于每一门课程，而不用担心我期末考试周到了，我同时要准备4-5门课程这样子。我们学校的学费呢，相对于其他的私立大学比起来呢，大概会便宜60%左右。相比很多的公立大学来说，也会便宜大概30%到40%左右。那大家就可能会说，为什么学费这么便宜呢？我们学校办学的那个宗旨呢，是希望有更多的人能够有机会完成自己的这个教育梦，而不是说拒绝大家这样一个机会因为特别高昂的这样一个学费。我们现在的线上授课的这个课程呢，选择比较多，大概有75个专业左右。但是如果学生是想要到校区里面来上课的话呢，这个专业选择呢相对会比较少一点。整个申请的流程呢非常的简明，大家材料准备好的情况下呢，我们大概2周左右就可以把那个学生的 I-20 发出来。下一页。大家可能会说，那我们这个学费这么的平易近人，那教育质量是不是也会有保证？那这个肯定是有的。大家可以看第一个，我们这个 WASC 这个评估机构，这个评估机构呢是全美国6大的Regional Accreditation Body 之一我们这个评估机构呢，这个评级的等级呢和所有的加州州立大学也是完全一致的，所以呢我们所有的学分呢也都是可以和加州州立大学之间的课程相互转换，所以大家在这个教学质量上呢可以有足够的这样一个保证。下一页。 这一页呢稍微罗列了一下我们一部分国际学生呢比较热门的这样一些专业。那在这里可以看到 MBA 商学院里面有 MBA， 有会计学，有人力资源管理学，然后有企业领导这些都是以往学生选择比较多的。然后因为最近的近期的这样一个新冠的这样原因呢，所以我们的那个健康类的专业也变得非常非常的火热。我们的健康管理和公共卫生这两门专业也是有非常非常多的学生报名。我们还比较注重于科技方面的专业，所以大家可以看到我们的那个计算机科学 Computer Science 专业呢，我们是有 ABET 的这样一个评估资格的。这个呢，就是在所有的 Computer Science 的这样一个专业里面呢，也是一个比较硬朗的这样一个评估资格。然后我们的大家可以看我们的 Cyber Security， 我们的网络安全专业呢，其实是全加州第一个受到美国国家安全局认可的这样一个专业。所以呢，我们选择这个专业的学生也比较多，而且这是一个非常新兴的这样一个专业，就业前景也非常非常好。Data Analytics 数据分析这个专业呢，也是一直非常老牌，所以呢也有很多的学生选择。然后大家如果对 Engineering Management 对于工程管理有兴趣的话，我们有类似的专业可以提供。好，下一页。入学的这样一个标准呢，其实我们这边也是非常的简明我们只要求学生的本科的绩点能够达到2.5或者以上，然后通过语言考试的成绩通过提供足够的语言考试成绩就可以了。下一页。语言考试呢，如果学生是要考托福的话呢，就是79分；如果是雅思的话呢，就是6分如果是 Duolingo 的话呢，就是100分然后学生可能会问，那我如果没有考语言考试，那我是不是也可以入学呢？这个也是可以的这个我们有自己的语言课程，然后如果学生没有考语言考试的话呢，可以申请语言课程加研究生学位。到了 San Diego 之后呢，我们会根据学生入学测试的具体情况，给学生安排一个语言课程。这样，下一页。这一页呢，大家可以简单的看到一下我们这样一个平均的这样一个学费我们研究生学费大概一年就是$16,000左右。然后以 MBA 为例的话，我们整个 MBA 的学位念完大概是$23,000左右。所以呢大家可以看到这个学费呢，相对于其他很多学校来说是非常非常平易近人的我们同时也有一部分的奖学金可以提供学生这样一个资金上的帮助最高的金额呢可以拿到$6,000。大家可能想6000好像跟很多学校比起来就没有很多钱但是6000对于我们的这样一个学费当中这样一个比重来说呢，其实已经是非常高的了，所以大家可以综合考虑一下。下一页。那大家有的时候会比较感兴趣，那我到了这边之后，学生的生活大概是怎么样的呢？学生每次国际生来了之后呢，都会有自己独立的新生报到这个入学仪式。如果入学之前学生有需要提供帮助寻找这个住宿或者是机场接送这些我们都可以提供帮助的。我们学校呢是没有自己的那个宿舍，但是呢我们当地有很多的不同的企业跟我们合作，然后我们可以帮学生安排，比如说寄宿家庭或者给自己找那个就是公寓房和其他学生合租这些我们都是可以协助的。然后如果学生有什么问题的话呢，我们有一个全天候的这样一个热线 Student Concierge Services， 大家可以随时打电话去咨询。然后我们每一个月呢还会带学生出去做各种各样不同的活动。那这个当然肯定是新冠之前了，新冠之后呢，我们可能会这样活动的模式可能会有所不同，所以大家也可以期待。好，下一页。那对于就业前景来说呢，其实也是学生们比较关注的。那这个呢，我想请大家看我们最后一行这个 Online Job Portal。那其他很多的东西呢，我们和其他大学其实都是很类似的，就我们会给学生提供，比如说简历的修改或者是面试的这样一个辅导但是我们还给学生独立架构了一个就职通道。这个就职通道，学生登录之后呢，可以看到我们所有圣地亚哥当地企业的内部招聘信息和外部招聘信息。那这个内部招聘信息呢，其实就非常非常有价值了。我们有很多的学生在就读期间呢，就会通过这个就职通道来找到自己想要的实习或者是兼职 这样对于以后毕业之后的就业前景来说，其实是非常非常有帮助的。所以这一点呢，在就业上面呢，我们是做的和可能其他学校有比较不同，所以值得一提。好，下一页。这一页呢，大概罗列了一下我们过往比较出名的这样一些毕业生大家也可以因为时间关系，大家也可以稍微看一看。然后对于学生的那个学习情况来说呢，我们还有一个不同的那个 service 我想稍微提一下，我们有一个 writing center。writing center 是干什么呢？就是说学生如果写完了一篇 assignment， 写完了一篇作业，说我不知道自己这个语言上面表达是不是表达的清楚，因为毕竟是我们不是用母语来表达嘛。然后我们这个 writing center 呢，就可以和学生有1对1的这样一个机会，然后来帮助学生逐句的来修改你的这个作业。这个主要呢，它并不是说完全帮你，就是像家教一样手帮手帮你这样帮你辅导，而是告诉你什么情况下你可能以后想要换一种表达的方式这样通过时间的这样一个积累，你不断的使用这个 writing center 之后呢，你将来写作的这样一个表达的方式呢，就会有很大的提高。然后我们的图书管理员也不仅仅是在图书馆里面帮学生协助学生找这样一个书籍的这样一个工作，他们也可以帮助学生来寻找写论文写作业所需要的这样一个网上的资源。所以这些呢，对于大家学习来说都是非常有帮助的下一页。好，今天的演讲就到此结束了，然后大家有什么问题的话可以提一下。我刚看到 Renting Center 是1对1的吗？是1对1的。
好的，谢谢 Sam 老师的分享。那么这边的话，我们也是看到了一些同学在这个讨论框里面有问出来一些问题。这个晚安北京同学说，研究生专业一般修多长时间才可以毕业？
这是个好问题。我们因为是1个月1门课这样一个制度，所以呢，学生毕业时间呢都其实是比较短的。以 MBA 为例的话 ，MBA 1年就毕业了。会计大概是1年4个月，1年0.4个月毕业。然后像 Computer Science 计算机这个科学也是1年就毕业了。
好的，那这边的话还有一个奖学金多少？但刚刚Sam 老师已经说过是$6000，也是在相对较低的学费中占的比重是相对来说是很大的。那么还有一个就是哪一门学科对于中国学生比较有挑战性？
比较有挑战性，这个其实我觉得要看每个学生自己不同的背景吧。那像我个人来说，我因为没有学过计算机，那肯定对于我来说，肯定计算机是最难的但是我们学校的这样各种各样的服务呢，刚刚有提到的 Writing Center 有提到我们图书管理员协助大家找资料然后还有提到我们这样1个月1门课的这样一个课程所以总体来说呢，所有的课程对于学生来说都是非常就是完成率都是非常非常高的。我们过往的国际学生毕业率大概是在98%左右。就很少会有情况的学生会比如说跟不上然后没有办法完成学业这个样子。
好的，那么下一个问题呢，是因为刚刚您也有提到，就是说学校中的国际学生可能只占400名国际学生左右，但是在400名这个国际学生中间有多少名中国学生？
中国学生大概只有50名左右。
好的。
我们有很多的学生是来自欧洲，然后当中以德国学生为主。
好的，那么还有一个问题呢，就是说我们提前准备好的一个问题，但是这个问题是英文的，那我就简单翻译一下，就是说关于学校的就业，比如说我们的这个 National University 会不会对学生有一个比如像是 Career Hub， 或者就是说能帮助学生找一些全职或者说是这个兼职的一些机会，或者会有一些就业指导？
这个呢，因为前面我们有稍微提到一下我们的那个就职通道，这个就职通道呢是对于我们学校自己学生单独架构的，所以呢，这个就是我们主要在就职方面呢，跟其他学校做的相对有点不同的。然后呢，我们学校的那个 Career Service 这样一个就职辅导的这样一个部门呢，也是因为这个就职通道我们已经架设了这个就职通道平台有好多年了， 所以呢，他们对于整个平台呢运用也是非常非常的熟练，然后也会一直更新当中雇主的信息。所以呢，这个我们是非常非常鼓励学生开始就读之后呢，就马上联系我们的这样一个 career 就职辅导的这样一个部门，然后呢，尽快就是享用这个就职通道所带来的福利。
好的，那么今天呢，因为时间的原因呢，就是说我们的Sam老师没有办法跟大家就是一一详细的，就是说解答大家的问题。但是如果说大家有相关的这些问题的话，大家也可以去扫描屏幕上这个 QR code 去添加我们Sam老师，然后就是说能获取更多我们的国立大学的相关资讯，同时呢也是可以就是说方便给Sam大学或者是给大学去发送邮件，也同时来获得就是说校方比如说招生的这个 brochure。好的，那么今天的话就是谢谢Sam老师的分享。
好，谢谢大家。
好的，那么我们下一座需要大学呢是我们的Georgia Washington University ACS School of Engineering and Applied Science， 是我们的来自乔治华盛顿大学工程与应用科学学院的 Erin 老师。
All right, hi everyone. My name is Erin Vogt. I am the Associate Director of Graduate Recruitment and Admissions for George Washington University School of Engineering and Applied Science. Thanks for having me today. So in my job, I work with students, mainly international students, who are interested in applying for master's and PhD programs in engineering and computer science fields. I also work with our application processing, and I help sit on the application review committee for all of our programs, so I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about the application process too. First, let me tell you a little bit about GW, and you can go to the next slide, and our School of Engineering. So GW, in case you aren't familiar with our school, we have about 25,000 students. 15,000 of those are graduate students, so we are unique in that we actually have more graduate students than undergraduate students, which is a little bit uncommon for our universities. So GW does have a very strong focus on graduate level study, on research, on supporting these students. We do have 3 campuses I also want to mention, so you might hear about our campuses in Washington, D.C. and Virginia. All the programs that we're talking about here today are on the Washington, D.C. campus, the main campus of the university, and that's right in the middle of our capital city, downtown urban campus. Next slide. So about our School of Engineering and Applied Science, just a few quick facts. We have 6 academic departments with 12 different fields of study. We have more than 90 tenured full-time or tenured faculty members. Our engineering hall, which I'll show you in just a minute, has 11 research centers and over 55 research facilities and laboratories where our students and our faculty are working and researching. Perfect. And our Science and Engineering Hall. So this is the building that is the main hub for our students in our School of Engineering and Applied Science, which we call SEAS. So this building houses all of the administrative offices. It has many of your classrooms that you'll be studying in. It has, as I mentioned, our research facilities. So we have a Class 100 nanofabrication clean room. We have a high bay with a strong wall and strong floor for structural research, high-resolution imaging suites, and that sort of thing, where you'd have opportunities to get involved during your time as a student. Next. So one thing I encourage you is to check out the virtual tours that are available on our website. So we have a tour of GW where you can sort of walk around virtually outside of our building through our whole campus and get a feel for what our campus environment is like. And then we also have this virtual tour of SEAS, of our Science and Engineering Hall. And again, you can actually walk through the building virtually. You can look into classrooms, you can look into laboratories, and really see what work environment and what the study environment is like for our students. So the website for this is at the bottom of the page. I'll give you our main website on the last slide, and you can find all of the information that I'll talk about today from that page. Next. So our MS programs, you can see here a list of all of our available master's programs. Of this list, we have computer science is our largest program at the university, and electrical engineering is our second largest. I believe mechanical engineering is our third largest. We also have some programs that are really growing in popularity right now. So for example, cybersecurity is a very popular topic, and data analytics, because this area of study can really be applied across a lot of disciplines. So in the technology field, and finance, and education, anything that you can imagine, this degree can be applied for that. So we have students coming into our programs from sometimes the same background. So for example, computer science to computer science. And sometimes they're coming from different backgrounds altogether. So they might have been a mechanical engineer, and now they're going to start the engineering management program, for example. And then next, our PhD programs. So here you'll find just a slightly shorter list. You can see all of the programs available within our academic departments. So the reason the list is a little bit shorter is just because some of the previous subjects are located within these broader areas of study. So for example, if you want to study cybersecurity and computer science, you would do that within the PhD in computer science program. Next. One thing I want to mention that's important for PhD candidates, but for MS students as well, is to be sure to get to know the university's faculty. So on our website, we have all of the faculty profiles of all of the faculty within SEAS, within our School of Engineering, and we even publish all of their contact information. So if you have questions or you want to reach out to them, you're always welcome to. You can find some research news and updates on the website mentioned at the bottom of the page. But I think it's also just important to browse through the faculty that are working in the department that you're interested in, and really get to know their research. What research labs do they have? What facilities are they working on? What projects are they working on? What grants and funding do they have available? These are all the things that would be a big part of your study at the university as well. You can see Dr. Lee here. He's in our biomedical engineering department. Next. And our current graduate student, this is Chengji. He's just one of our students in the electrical engineering department, and we've gotten to know him well over the last year or so. So he is always willing to talk to interested students who have questions about studying at GW on our campus. And I recommend this option. If you have questions and you want to connect with a current student, you can always let us know. They can give you really that firsthand experience and their own perspective about the university. Next. So I'm going to talk quickly. I just have 2 minutes left to get through the rest of the presentation. So I just want to mention our Career Services Center. We have a Career Services Center located within SEAS. So they only cater to our engineering and computer science students, and they're very used to working with international students regularly. So they understand your unique situations about you might be job searching in another country, you have visa concerns, you are interested in OPT and working on a student visa, those kind of questions and concerns that you might have. They're very experienced in working with you. Next. And through our Career Services website, you can find a lot of information. For example, this is an overview of the computer science field and outcomes of our computer science students. So for example, employers who have recently hired our alumni, like employers like Amazon, Capital One, Facebook, you can get an idea of what type of jobs you could get and what type of employers you'd be able to connect with. So I want to, next, I want to briefly just mention our admissions requirements. Right now, if you're interested for fall 2021, that's starting in August 2021, at the university, we have waived the GRE requirement because of COVID-19 and difficulties with testing. So normally the GRE exam is required, but for next fall, it's not required. Otherwise, we just need our online application. We need your English exam scores. letters of recommendation, a statement of purpose, of course, all your academic records. So we collect these in both Mandarin and in English, and then we do the evaluation for you. So you don't need a WES evaluation or anything like that. Just for joining today, we're happy to waive your application fee. You can use the waiver code Sunrise 2020, and you can always just email us and we can provide that waiver for you. So don't worry if you don't remember. Next. And finally, I'll mention funding. So we usually have some questions about scholarships and funding opportunities. For MS students, we review automatically for merit scholarships. So that means based on your academic record, your work experience, any factors about your profile, we will automatically consider you for scholarships that are typically between 25 and 50% of tuition. For PhD candidates, you're also automatically considered, so you don't need to do anything separate. But the funding in that case is more like teaching assistantships, research assistantships. These are awards where you work for the department, work with the department, and they will cover your tuition and provide some living stipend for your time at the university. Next. So I'm happy to take your questions, and I just want to mention also that we do have a Chinese website, a Chinese language website. You can see it here in the middle on the screen. If you prefer to view the information there, please go ahead. And you can always email me and my team at engineering@gwu.edu with any questions about joining one of our programs. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much for your sharing, Erin, today. It's very exciting to see the campus. Okay, so we got a few question we collected from our interest form, and the very first one is, basically we're under the global pandemic at the moment, and is there any particular measurements that's ACES have trying to protect those international students, there's safety and the physically or psychologically measurement for them? Anything? Can you probably just talk about that?
Sure. So you mean any?
Yeah, quarantine. Something like quarantine, offline, online.
Okay, sure. So I'll just talk a little bit about what our university is doing right now for COVID-19. So right now, first of all, we have online classes. So if you receive a visa and are able to travel to the US, we can accommodate you in person in our classrooms, but most students are not able to do this right now. So generally, the university is completely online for this semester and for the next semester, the spring semester. And students are joining that way, including all of our international students and our students in China. They're joining us online and doing their classes online to get their degree program started. For next fall, which is what most people are considering applying for at this point, we don't know yet. We hope that the university will be back to normal operations. Right now, we currently have quarantine policies where if you're coming from abroad, you should self-quarantine when you arrive in the US, typically for 2 weeks. We have temperature checks and safety measures at the university, so you need permission to enter each building, and you have to do temperature checks and health checks in order to enter, just to slow the spread of the disease. We've been really successful with this so far. Our campus has had very few cases despite being in the middle of a major city, so we're very happy with that so far, but obviously we're hoping that in the next few months we will slowly return to normal life.
Right. All right. So next question from Vivi. So what are the most popular majors? I think actually means what's the most popular majors for, especially for Chinese students?
Yeah, sure. I'll mention first of all that I'm just representing here today the engineering school, but in case there are students interested in other subjects, GW has some other programs that are really popular. For example, our School of International Relations is one of the top programs in the US, and a lot of students are coming from abroad to study international relations or related topics at GW just because of our location in the middle of the capital. Also, our MBA programs, for example, are quite popular. But I'll mention just specifically for the School of Engineering. So And I can say, especially for our Chinese students, the most common major is definitely computer science, and the next one is electrical engineering. So most students that I'm talking to from China especially are interested in those programs. Now recently we also have more interest, for example, in data analytics, but that's a significantly smaller program than the other two that I mentioned. Yeah, you'll find a lot of Chinese peers in computer science and electrical engineering.
Okay, thank you very much for the sharing today. And due to the time limit, and I think like we would probably like need to call it as a day. So, 大家就是说，如果说大家对乔治华盛顿大学还有更多的一些问题的话，欢迎就是说，请大家去造访华盛顿大学的官方网站，他们同时也有一个也做一个中文的网站。如果说大家想把这个网站分享给爸爸妈妈看啊，实际上都是可以的。Okay, so thank you very much for sharing today, Erin. Take care and stay safe. All right.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye. 好的，那接下来呢，就是有请我们今天的最后一所学校是维克森林大学的，来自维克森林大学的 John White 老师。Hi, John.
Hi. Yes, I can.
Right. Perfect.
Good evening to you and to all our friends in China here from North Carolina in the United States. We can begin now. I'm here to talk to you about our master's programs. We have 3 that I'm going to discuss. We can turn the slide, please. We're in Western North Carolina, which is located along the eastern coast of the United States. We generally have very beautiful weather here. The average temperature is 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And we are currently open. Our campus has been open successfully since August. We, of course, have students who are studying on campus and studying online, but we are fully open. We plan to be open next semester as well for on-campus delivery for students that are able to be here. Next slide. And next slide again. These are just some shots of our campus. This is the School of Business. That's fine. We're perfect where we are. The 3 masters I want to talk about this evening are Masters in Business Analytics, which is STEM designated, probably our most popular master for international students and students of Chinese origin. Our Masters in Accountancy, which is also STEM designated, and then our Masters in Management, which is for non-business majors, very similar to the first year of an MBA type program, and also has the option to return within 5 years to get the second year of an MBA. So you would emerge with 2 degrees there. Next slide. We really put the students at the center of our program models. So we believe in a student-centric support approach, enrollment management in the upper left quadrant. That's my team, admissions. Your program faculty, I think this would probably feel really different for a lot of students coming from bigger schools. We have between 100 to 150 at most in our master's programs. So oftentimes 10 to 1 faculty-student ratio. So very engaged faculty and direct access to faculty from students. The lower right quadrant is market readiness and employment. That's what most students would know as career coaching. We offer full career coach support to all students regardless of country of origin. For international students, we generally take a 3-country approach, where if you want to work in the States, that's search 1. If you want to work back in China, that's search 2. Or if there's an alternate 3rd country, you could potentially work that search 3. So at any time, you have upwards of 3 searches going on with your career coach. And our goal is that every student graduates with employment as well as with a full-time job, either in the States or in their country of origin, if that's their choice. Next slide. You can go to the next slide again, please. So this is our class profile in MSBA, the Business Analytics program. You will see that students come from all over the world and all over the US. You'll also see the upper left quadrant, 118 students. That is by intent and design. We like our program small, so we can offer all those high levels of support that I talked about in the previous slide. You will see that 42% of this program is international. Most of our students do come from China, India, or other European Union countries. Next slide. This is what the curriculum looks like. So while we do not have any prereqs, we do ask for B's or better in your undergraduate area of study, or rigorous grades in coursework in statistics, calculus, discrete math, linear algebra, but again, no prereqs. There's also no programming or coding requirements in this program. So some students come in with some programming and coding experience, and some have none at all. The program itself starts in July and finishes the following May. So it's a 10-month experience. It's 37 credits in 10 months, so it's accelerated. It's designed to bring you in, get you upskilled quickly, and then get you out to a professional outcome. Next slide. Where do these students go? So this is just a listing of some of the companies. You'll see a lot of global brands on here: Coca-Cola, Levi's, Disney. You will see that we have 100% employment in this program. The last 2 years, we are still calculating our class of 2020 employment outcomes. We will have those updated at the end of November. That's a standard 6-month turnaround. The average USD salary, $75,000, and again, of course, the STEM designation. Next slide. This is our accounting program, also STEM designated. This is a top 5 program in the United States. We've had the #1 CPA pass rate 17 out of the last 20 years. We teach to the CPA, thus that pass rate. The US average pass rate is 55% the first time out. Again, ours is 90%. Next slide. This is, again, class profile. You will see small classes by intent and design, so we can offer a highly personalized experience. 31% of our students come from abroad. Next slide, please. And this is the curriculum here. So we offer 3 tracks in this program: an audit track, we offer a tax track, and then we have a track that is unique to Wake Forest. No other school in the US has it. It's called Financial Transaction Services, also known as FTS. And that is for students who are looking to go into investment banking, mergers and acquisitions type work, hedge fund type work. Next slide. These are the 3 tracks, as I mentioned. You will also find more analytics in our program currently than most other masters in accounting programs in the United States. We require 4 courses in analytics, as well as an optional analytic elective. I highly encourage all students to even take that elective. And then the reason why we put analytics through the curriculum, regardless of track of interest, is because the increase in demand for analytics professionals in the public accounting arena. Next slide. Here are the learning tracks that I talk about. FTS, which I mentioned, is our most popular. Tax is the 3rd popular, and then assurance or audit is the 2nd most popular. Next slide. Next slide again, please. Okay, so there's a 2-semester or 3-semester option for students that really want to go with that full-time public accounting, top Big 4, as we call them here in the US: Deloitte, EY, PwC, KPMG. I would recommend the top option because it gives you the opportunity to have an internship in the winter semester. So it's a 3-semester experience. Next slide. This is about the employment recruiting. Most of our students do end up with internship and then full-time employment offers in the States, either from the Big 4 or from other national regional firms. Next slide. Careers, where do our students go? And this is all students, not just American students. So regardless of country of origin, our students, again, go to the Big 4, which you'll see in the top 4 quadrants, and then other national regional firms in public accounting. You'll see the 100% employment outcome. This actually is for the class of 2020. We were able to hit that benchmark early, so we're excited about that. The average compensation in USD. And then, of course, again, that it's a STEM designated program. We were able to receive the STEM designation last year with the increased implementation of analytics in our curriculum. So it's a highly technical degree experience. Next slide. I'm getting better at going through this than I did the first 2 times. I was running out of time the last 2 times, but I'm doing well today. You'll see it's not just public accounting. A lot of students go into roles in corporate accounting, finance, banking. You'll see many employers listed on here, healthcare. So it's not just Big 4 public accounting routes. A lot of students do use this degree to go into, again, things like investment banking, M&A work, and corporate accounting, and technology. We have a lot of students now pursuing roles in fintech and tech. Next slide. Where do our students go? Most of our students do tend to go along the US East Coast. So you'll see New York, DC, Atlanta, Charlotte, North Carolina, which is about an hour and 10 minutes from us. Charlotte's now the 2nd largest financial center in the United States outside of New York City. So a lot of students like to stay along the East Quadrant of the United States and even in the South. We do have some students that want to go out west, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and that is doable. Next slide. We're going to go through this one very quickly. This is the Master's in Management for non-business majors. Next slide. Again, class profile, you see about 21% of our students come from abroad. Next slide. This is the curriculum, very much like the first year of an MBA type degree experience. Again, this is for non-business majors who want to build upon their liberal arts or non-business background with critical business knowledge. Next slide, please. There's opportunity to specialize in 3 tracks in this program: a marketing track, a healthcare track, and a strategic resource management track, which includes things like finance, human capital, and consulting. Next slide. This is the MBA Advantage I talked about, where you can return within 5 years, either on campus in our Winston-Salem campus, our Charlotte campus, or in our online MBA program to get that second year of the MBA. Next slide. These are just some student profiles that I've included on our International Leaders Program, which is a 2-year sequential degree experience where students can study the MSM and then stay here in the States and then begin the MSBA. And within 24 months, they'll have the MSM and then the STEM certified MSBA. Next slide. I included these so that people can read them at their own time, so we don't need to discuss this one either. Next slide. Just some highlights of the programs, and then where the MSM, if we can go to the next one, where MSMs go. Again, they go into finance, consulting, consumer packaged goods. You'll see average salaries again. I mentioned financial services, consulting, and CPG, as we call it here in the US, consumer packaged goods, are the top employment outcomes in the MSM program. So next slide. We have a lot of graduate student organizations. It's not just work, and career search. So we realize that students have a life outside the classroom. So this is just a sampling of the clubs and organizations students are able to participate in during their 1 year with us. Next slide. And of course, critical information, how to apply. You'll see all the critical information there. I have set up a fee waiver code for students who attend these webinars. Sunrise is the code. It allows you to bypass the $100 USD application fee. We're enrolling admissions. We just passed our first early app deadline, but we continue to admit until classes are full. Next slide. Here we go. And of course, stay in touch with me. I'd love to hear from students. I'm on WhatsApp. I'm easily contactable through my email address. I love talking with students and working with students. It's probably the favorite part of my role during my 7 years leading admissions at Wake Forest. And with that, I'm open for questions.
All right. So thank you very much for the sharing. And here's like a few questions I collected from our students. The very first one is: will enterprise comes to school to do the recruitments, recruitment festivals, something others?
So that is a great question right now. Currently in the United States, even though our campus is open and active, most corporate recruiters are doing everything web-based because of the pandemic.
Right. Another one is: do you have a WeChat? Because because of the Great Firewall, like here in China, people when people want to get access to WhatsApp, they need a VPN. So
I would love to have WeChat. I have been unable to successfully activate a WeChat account for about the last 2 months, and I think that's due to increased restrictions here in the States. So unfortunately, I do not have one right now, but if people are on WhatsApp, I have a WhatsApp. I also have a GroupMe, which is much more popular here in the States, but hopefully through one of those platforms you can connect with me.
Right, perfect. So how many, next question, same from minutes, how many Chinese students enrolled this year? And will the uni like host like some of the activities, or sometimes I don't know, like cultural festivals, like sometimes when like Chinese traditional.
Yeah, great question. So of course, with the amount of international students that we have in our programs, and because our programs are small, international students stand out much more than they would in a larger university. We actually have International Student Week coming up. I will, if you were here, it'd be wonderful to see. We hang the flag of every nation represented within the business school. I think we have about 37 countries in total represented. Our International Students Association, we celebrate what we here call Chinese New Year, which you just call New Year's. And we celebrate a lot of other cultural celebrations. We really want to make sure that our students feel part of the experience, but that also our American students really embrace Chinese culture as well. So there's a lot of cross-culture connections around celebrating events specific to each culture. To your other question, yes, we do have students here. It's usually our international students. It was those that were already in the States and decided to stay, as opposed to going back to their home country. And then when the pandemic hit, they were able to successfully return to the US. But we do have a number of international students who are currently actively here in North Carolina studying in our master's programs. Others have gone online this semester.
Okay. Also, I noticed like you mentioned like this whole program is like accelerated one. So like I mean, from me, all right, personally, so like how intensive this course will be.
Mm-hmm. So it's a lot. You know, it's 37 credits in 10 months. As I mentioned, 2 of the 3 programs also have a consulting project within them. But the goal is what we like to call it a lot is to get you market ready. It's a lot, but it can be done, and it is done successfully between, you know, the support level you have from faculty and staff, that you have from fellow students, and then with the coaching staff as well, that career coaching piece. You know, we start with the career coaching the first day of the program. So it starts really early, especially in the summer program. So while it is a different pace, I would say the biggest pace change for students is the amount of coursework and just reading that they're trying to get through. But it is doable, and it just goes so quickly. I think that's, for me, the part that it can be a little bit sad is we build relationships with students and they move through so quickly in our programs. But that's how they're designed.
Yep, that's totally get it. All right. So due to the time limits, I think today successfully you made the time, you finished the presentations and also got the Q&A session perfect. So hopefully these applicants will come over to you through the WhatsApp, and sooner or later, trying to figure out the WeChat as soon as possible, hopefully, but the GFW. But thank you very much for these very exciting presentations, and stay safe. All right.
All right. Thank you. Great to see you. Thank you for hosting. And again, I encourage students to reach out to me anytime. We love working with students, and I hope to get the chance to do so. But thank you for having me this evening, and I hope everyone has a good night in China.
Right. Thank you very much. See you around. Bye. 感谢 John 为我们带来的分享。那么今天呢，我们3所学校全部的分享呢就到此结束了。因为时间的原因呢，我们没有办法充足的时间与每一位老师来进行深度的沟通。同时呢，我们也欢迎同学们下载我们老师的 PowerPoint， 添加老师的联系方式，以进行更加进一步的咨询。最后呢，非常感谢大家今晚的到来，希望同学们呢也能继续关注我们未来的云展活动。大家晚安。